Stay tuned for the Jeffery Leving Father's Rights Legal Show with your host, Attorney Jeffery Leving.
This is Jeffery Leving with the Jeffery Leving Father's Rights Legal Show, and it's a pleasure to be here again another Sunday with my loyal listening audience every Sunday at 2 p.m. on Soul 106.3 FM. And if anybody wants to listen to any of our archived shows, we have all of our shows archived.
Is this Governor Pat Quinn?
Well, it sure is, Jeff. How you doing? It's good to be talking to you, and I commend your zealous advocacy. You've been an attorney in Illinois for many years, and you've, I think, lived up to what lawyers have to do, and that's to be strong advocates for their clients and make sure that justice is done.
Well, thank you, and it's an honor to have you on my show this Sunday. We did have several technical difficulties getting the show on the air, but now that you're on, it looks like all of the technical difficulties have been straightened out. And on this Tuesday, former President Bill Clinton is coming to town to campaign for you, and that's pretty exciting. And what are the expectations of the former president, and how impactful will he be?
Well, I think President Clinton and President Obama are coming this week. President Clinton is coming on Tuesday, Jeff, and then President Obama will be coming, I believe, on Saturday of this coming week. And part of the reason is both presidents, both Democrats, and I'm a Democrat, we understand the importance of making sure that people have jobs and making sure that people understand how important it is to vote. The most important act of a citizen is to vote in an election. And especially in this election, we've got to have the back of President Obama. 2 years ago, 2008, we changed the guard in America. We elected a new president and replaced one that had really a very poor record of job creation, to say the least, President Bush. But President Obama, this year, we've got to guard the change. We've got to make sure that the reforms that we've enacted are maintained, and that's one reason President Clinton is coming on Tuesday on my behalf. He was 3 years ahead of me in college. We went to the same university, Georgetown, and President Clinton, we all know, led to one of the greatest expansions of the American economy in the history of our country. Lots of jobs came about because of his good work, and I look forward to working with President Clinton and President Obama to get our economy and our recovery back on track.
Yeah, and you talked about jobs for Illinois, and I did speak to you by phone earlier about jobs for Illinois, and you're doing a great job fighting to get jobs into Illinois because unemployment is a problem. What exactly is Jobs for Illinois for our listening audience?
Yeah, this is a program that is very important one. It's called Put Illinois to Work, and that's a pretty good slogan. We obviously have to get our citizens back to work. Our unemployment rate has been declining for the last 9 months. That's good. We want to keep it going down, but we still have a long way to go, And so what happened earlier this year in May, President Obama got us some federal money to start a program, Put Illinois to Work, where we work with private employers, businesses, all across our state, to get jobs for people. The jobs pay $10 an hour, enough for folks at least to survive, and we were able to get 26,000 people jobs all across our state. That's a good thing. And they still have those jobs because on September 30th, I made sure our state continued to invest in this program. My opponent, Senator Brady, he wanted me to fire all 26,000 people off of Put Illinois to Work, and I said that would be a very bad thing to do. People have to support their families, their kids. They need a job. That's the best way to fight crime, best way to fight poverty, best way to keep families going is to make sure we have good jobs. And so Put Illinois to Work is a perfect example of that. And I know President Clinton will talk about it on Tuesday. We're going to be at the Palmer House, at the hotel downtown, Palmer House. And then on this coming Saturday, President Obama will be in town. We'll be talking about jobs for everyday people.
Well, that sounds fantastic. And you've also been endorsed by the Chicago Sun-Times. How do you feel about this endorsement, and why do you believe they endorsed you?
Well, the Sun-Times in its editorial said that Pat Quinn is pro-business and pro-people. What I want to do is put people on the job in a business, getting folks back to work, and that's why the Sun-Times endorsed me. And also this week, the Chicago Daily Defender, the Defender endorsed me and said that I've always been there when it counts for the community. And also, just today, the Daily Southtown Star endorsed us. So we've got some support, but there's no better endorsement, Jeff, than your listeners, people listening who work hard, who want to make sure they do things right. As governor, I had to pick up the baton after my predecessor really was impeached and removed from office, and we've straightened it out. We have an honest government with an honest governor. I understand that jobs are number one. We got to make sure our people get back to work. I'm here in the south suburbs right now. I'm going to a Mustacholi dinner at Thornton Township in a minute or two, and out here, Ford Motor Company, which is on the south side and south suburbs, they're adding 1,200 new manufacturing jobs to build a new vehicle, the Ford Explorer. And that means not only 1,200 manufacturing jobs at Ford, but 12,000 jobs supply, contracting, servicing the Ford workers. So we want to get Illinois back to work. We've created more jobs in Illinois than any other Midwestern state this whole past year, and we want to keep it going and make sure people are working.
Governor, my listening audience is a very loyal listening audience, and unemployment is their key focus, and education. I was wondering if you could tell me your stand on education, especially for those students who are disadvantaged, and what would you do as governor to help them continue their education?
Well, this is really, really important, Jeff. There's no better way to have a job than to have a good education. We want to make sure that jobs are number one in Illinois, and jobs follow brain power. We have to invest in early childhood education, and we are. My opponent in the election wants to cut our funding for education by over $1 billion. He wants to fire 20,000 teachers off the job in Illinois. That's not a good way to go. You mentioned about affordability. We have a program in our state where 400,000 students get a scholarship to go to college. This is very important to them. They have the ability to do college work. They just don't have the money. They need a scholarship in order to afford to go to college, a community college, four-year university, you name it. And we provide that in Illinois because we know that smart people will help our state now and in the future. I'm running an election against an opponent who wants to cut the scholarship program. It's called Monetary Assistance Program, MAP. He wants to cut that by millions of dollars. And a lot of young people who are the first in their family to go to college, the very first, they would be denied a scholarship, couldn't go to college. We'd lose all that talent. It's just a shameful. We're not going to let Senator Brady, the person I'm running against, get away with it.
If it wasn't for the Illinois State Scholarship Commission, I probably wouldn't have been able to go to college because I came from a very poor family, and I was fortunate to get a lot of financial aid and assistance to get through Southern Illinois University, which put me in a position to go to law school. But in light of the fact that we know that children who grow up without fathers are more likely to fail academically, drop out of school, and that Illinois has a large percentage of children that are being raised without dads, what can the state of Illinois do to get more dads involved in raising their children and reconnected with their families?